Hi everyone, it's Vicky and today I'm creating a vintage style dress. It's this cool pattern, Simplicity 9222 from 1979, actually I think it was printed, yes, which is, you know, fantastic. And it is kind of like a shirt dress, working dress, a bit looser on the top, a bit tighter on the bottom. We'll see how it goes. I have my suspicions, but hopefully it'll go well. I have a really beautiful fabric, very nice patterned cotton fabric that I will be using. So let's get started and see what happens.
Okay, after a bit of a nightmare, I have figured out a layer that works, kind of, just about. I am expanding the side seams on both the back and front bodice by I think 2.5 centimeters already on top of this, just because I do want it to be floaty, I guess, and because it just feels like this would be too tight over the bust with the size that it is, and this just, again, for more floatiness to kind of match that. I might do this by a little bit. I might do the back by a little bit less and do the front by more. Similarly then with the sleeve, I'm just going to extend this by the same amounts to match. I've gone for the short option, which I wanted to anyway, so I've just kind of made sure that that's nice and short. And this is the facing. For a long time I was thinking, obviously I can do the facing out of a different fabric, but then it hit me that obviously it's facing, so it's going to be visible, so I cannot do it out of a different fabric. So it's getting done, and I've already cut out my collar pieces there. So that was lucky, just kind of out of spare things.
Okay, I have stay stitched all of the curved edges on all the pieces that have curved edges, and I am going to transfer the dart from the pattern onto the sleeve. This is my back piece. All I need to do is connect my sleeves right sides together to the bodice pieces. These have also been stay stitched. I am finding my notches successfully and the edges of the seams and the tops of the seams, and I'm just going to sew those together. Now I should theoretically baste this all first. I do want to try it on because I did make some adjustments to the pattern, and I do still want to make sure that it fits at least reasonably well.
And baste I did. I also ironed on the interfacing because the facing of the bodice and a few of the other pieces needed interfacing. And I also closed the facing kind of front, but it's the other side, if you know what I mean. Well, so first fitting, surprisingly good. It's really exciting. I obviously, like, the seams don't look ideal, but like everything fits really nicely and smoothly. This seems like there's actually going to be a little bit together at the waist. I was a bit worried that I was not going to have enough, but I did enlarge it and it all seems to be working fine. It seems to fit really nicely. The back seam, or the side seam, seems to be in a good place. All is good.
I have a fun story for you. So I put the collar together and you know, even bothered to kind of understitch the bottom side here and just like make sure it's really nice and tidy. Pressed it, and then I was thinking something's not aligning, like I'm missing notches, right? I'm missing connection points between the bodice and the collar. The collar's upside down. I need to undo the whole thing. It wouldn't have been right if I didn't have to seam rip much. Okay, new collar, well, same collar but other direction. I am just flipping it over using a tool to help me get a nice sharp tip, and I am going to first of all double check that I did the right thing. Oh, it's a nice corner actually. And understitch it again because I just feel like it's a lot nicer. Okay, after what feels like years, I have figured out the system, and I've done a lot of both clipping and some basting and some mental gymnastics. So basically the collar is on attached, as you can see, with many clips, but also it is basted on, so even if I release the clips, it's staying in its place. There is a gap here. Now that's the gap that I do not turn over, because yeah, that's the only part that's going to be uncovered. So that's the part that's going to get folded and cover this bit in the middle. The rest is going to sit under this layer of facing. It's going to sit nicely to kind of face the bodice, and then it's going to go all the way up into the collar and cover it up. Here we go. Basically the most important seam of this whole dress. Overall, I'm amazed. Considering how much pushing and stretching about there was, there are only a few little pleats on the back. Otherwise, the facing looks fabulous. We've got our little neckline. I know this is very hard to see at the moment, but that'll be my neck and that'll be the things. Oh, you'll see it later. Anyways, the neck is lovely and tidy. What I need to do now is close this, because part of the middle of the collar is still open. So I'm just going to fold this over and hand stitch that onto there. I am also going to tack these bad boys to the pleats that I have. They actually sit perfectly. See, this is why it's so nice to work with a fabricated pattern, not one I myself can make, because a detail like this, the fact that the facing perfectly aligns with the dart so that I can tack them together, that's just dreamy. I'm going to trim all the corners. I'm going to do some trimming on the rounds as well, so that obviously it can all fold nicely. I'm going to take out the basting stitch for the collar, and then I'm going to go sleep. I joke, but yes, I'm definitely just going to finish this up and then leave the rest for tomorrow, I think. Hello. The bodice is looking nice and together. I've done the underarm seams. I've top stitched the collar, so all on the top and all along the facing as well. It's all nice and top stitched. Last thing I want to do, or last thing I have to do on the bodice, is to connect the wrap, because one of the sides kind of obviously comes over the other. So I'm just going to baste that into place before we get on with the skirt. Okay, my skirt patterns. I only have one for the back, one for the front, which is nice because they get scrunched up at the waist by an elastic. They are still quite big. I am going to shorten this quite dramatically because I don't really want my skirt to be just as long as theirs are. The pattern's length is kind of like under knee, and I would rather have it as a mini-ish, so like above knee. It's time to cut. I have shortened it by about 16 centimeters around the length and shorten line. Because this is also two sizes too small, theoretically, I am going to cut any of the seam allowance that's already accounted for in the pattern as the pattern piece. I'm going to add my own seam allowance on top so that it's that little bit bigger, just to make sure.
So my skirt pieces have pockets now, so ears. I have understitched it as well so that they look really nice and lovely. You won't be able to see that. And now they're coming together, right sides together. So I might do like a whoop, come back up there maybe, or somewhere wherever I want the pocket to close, and then come down all the way down the hem. I'm gonna stitch that together, and then I think we're just folding these sides in, so the button plaques, those are getting folded in so that they're nice and even, and then we can start attaching things. Whee! I started by finishing the skirt side seams, not the one that comes together, but the others. So I added the interfacing and top stitched that on.
That side done. That's a nice clean top stitch as well. You can't see much. Yeah, you can in the shadows. There's one little puckle, but I don't actually care that much about that. Otherwise it's lovely and clean, and it's lovely and clean on the inside as well, closed and without a worry. So that's great news. Let's do the same thing for the front side. Okay, now it's theoretically time to connect the skirt, so the whole skirt is one piece. I've connected my 2 top stitch lines along where the pattern says, basically. So there's a particular piece here which is connected to there. There's going to be like a nice triangle there, and then I am going to edge stitch this one, but just to connect it to the one on the bottom, the skirt, the lower piece, and I'm going to go down to here, which is about midway down, and then from the rest it's my little slit with the buttons. So I'm going to just try this on very quickly, see if that's a height that I like, because I did make this a lot shorter than the original, so I need nothing to be peeking through. So I'm just going to try it on briefly, and if I like the length, I'm going to edge stitch that, put the skirts together, and we'll go from there. Nice and tidy and all done. So yay, hooray. It's time for lunch, and I'll probably go out, and then when I come back I can attach this to the bodice, put in the elastic, and hope for the best. I did try on the skirt, as I said, and it does fit nicely, like it fits really well. I was a little worried if it was going to be tight around my hips. It's not tight around my hips, it fits really well, but there is not like too much space available in my waist. Hold on. There's not much space available in the waist, so there will be some gathering when I put the elastic in, but it won't be like, ooh, gathers, you know. It'll be very gentle gathers and only very, very few, I think, but that's okay. That's fine, and I think it'll work with the silhouette anyways, because I have quite a bit of volume in the bodice, which is what I wanted, and that's great. The skirt is just going to be a little more slick, and that's okay. So let me just do the little tacks and then all the other things, but I'll probably show you when the bodice has been attached. Okay, I'm not convinced. I'll tell you why. A few reasons. First of all, the waist is too high. I put the belt on it because that's kind of the idea, like it's meant to be belted, but no matter which way I move around or adjust it, it is just that little bit too high for a dress. Like, my actual waist is about here, the dress's waist is like 2 centimeters higher. Also, I don't like the skirt as a part of the dress. Do you know why? I'm not sure if it's the sizing or the resizing, but there's a lot of just like fluff here. There's a lot of fluff around the bum, like it's not flattering, you know? If there was a dart here, maybe, but at the moment, because of the elastic, it's just very... the top I like. Top is cool, it's a nice shirt, I like that, I'm a fan, but I'm not sure if I like it as a whole. So what I might do is I might undo that elastic in the middle seam. I might make it a 2-piece, have a nice skirt that I'm just gonna fit a little bit more. I'm just gonna put like a few darts in it, and either a zipper or still an elastic, but maybe just in like a nicer way. And the top, same thing. I'm just gonna keep it a nice short blouse-ish of shorts of sorts, because otherwise I really find it hard to believe that I would wear this. I think that's what it is. Like, I think I'm finding it quite tricky to imagine that this would be something I'd be comfortable wearing out in its current state, which obviously is not ideal. So let's see if we can rework it somehow. Okay, so I have tried the skirt on. I've temporarily put in the zipper, so I have like a provisional, I mean it's not provisional, it will be the zipper, but you know, provisionally put on, it's just basted on for now.
And now I'm putting in the darts. I have put it on and kind of just tried where I want the darts to go. So now I'm going to put the front darts in first, just because I want to do less adjustments on those for some reason, or I want to make sure that the back darts fit me really well. So when I'm trying it on, I want the front darts to already be in place so that I can adjust the back as well as possible, if that makes sense. Or as kind of accurately as possible. So I'm just putting that in. I've just pinned this one in, and I'm gonna do the other one the right way around, because this is on the outside because I pinned it on myself. And then when I what's up? And when I put those in, I'm gonna try it on again, put in the back darts, and hopefully we can then work on the lining. I need to figure out how I'm going to do that, but it'll work. I'm not going to line the whole thing. I don't think I need to. It's not particularly see-through. But now that I have finished the main shape, I basically need something, at least like a strip, to hold it together on the inside, help me enclose the zipper in nicely, help me enclose the hem, because obviously it's quite raw at the moment and I don't want to just fold it over. That's not really ideal for a waistband. And just help hold it all together. I have some spare cotton from a while ago. This is just standard quilting cotton. I need to iron it. And what I am planning to do is laying this as flat as possible on the cotton and just kind of tracing out the shape, and bigger obviously, to figure out the shape of it, and doing that for both the back and the front. They're going to be a little different because the front is actually a little bit wider, which makes sense. I guess it does have more to encompass on the front. So that's, yeah, I need to take that into account, and hopefully I can fit both. It might be a little tight, but I have other cottons in case this one is not enough. So I am just going to try and do that and just trace it over, and then if that works, I am just going to insert it. I need to tidy up the invisible zipper so it's a little bit more invisible as well, but after that I can just insert the lining, and hopefully that will work. Let's see. It did in fact work. I have done this before, but never as successfully as I did on this skirt. I did just kind of trace around the shape of the waistband as I had it, and then I added the same amount of centimeters kind of going down from it to create a strip, which I then sewed onto the hem, right sides together. I hemmed that strip as well so that it'd be nice and tidy on the bottom, and I also understitched it, which I'm showing you here, or I will understitch it by this point, so that it doesn't show up on the other side. I will also enclose the zip with it, and I had to sew the zip down first properly because I had only basted it in beforehand. But after that I just hemmed the whole thing. I created some bias tape for the kind of wrap tie on the blouse, which I decided to do. Then I sewed that on. And with that being on and all my hems nice and all my kind of seam allowance nice and trimmed, that's the finished result. I am so excited and happy about this. I really like the pieces together, but I actually also really like them as individual pieces, and I love how wearable they are. Both the skirt, which I've already worn a few times, and the shirt, which I'm looking forward to wearing when it's a tiny bit warmer still. England is cold at the moment. So overall, a really successful project after a bit of a rocky start. And if you enjoyed watching, please like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!